Hello and welcome to the Classroom Connection, the show that takes you inside Marion County Public Schools. We have got a special show for you today. All 4 candidates running for the Marion County School Board are with us. And we will also learn about one of the newest and most popular programs offered at CTAE, or Community Technical and Adult Education. And finally, you will meet our next star student, someone who stands above the rest because of their success at school. First up, though, as promised, 4 candidates are running for 2 seats on the Marion County School Board. The District 3 race includes incumbent Bobby James and his challenger, Jane Morley. Both of them are with us today. We appreciate you, both of you, joining us today. Mr. James, I'm going to pose my first question to you. What is your #1 priority if re-elected? And I'll ask you to be very specific.
My #1 objective would be to present to this community a balanced scorecard. And a balanced scorecard is where we will actually keep track of where our kids are, where our schools are, where our fundings are, and the training that will take place in order to make the balanced scorecard work. It is a combination of 2 things. We have to work real closely with the superintendent because, as you know, academic achievement is our main purpose and our main goal. And with a balanced scorecard out there, we will be able to identify what our needs are, where our funding is going, and how we can better address the kids that really need the additional help. It will put us in tune with our strategic plan. Our strategic plan and a balanced scorecard should be in tune. So this is what I would really like to bring to this community and to all of our supporters out there.
Okay. Ms. Morley, I'll pose the same question to you.
Could you please repeat that?
Sure. What's your #1 priority if re-elected? And I'll ask you to be specific.
Leading the state in being the best at what we can and releasing the maximum potential in each and every student.
Academically?
Academically and in performance.
Okay. All right, Ms. Morley. Voters will also decide the future of a $1 million increase to benefit our schools. Do you support this tax increase, and why or why not?
I don't.
Okay. Why
and
not?
the reason why I don't support it, I feel as a taxpayer, I would like to see what's going to happen after the 4 years. Once
after your 4 years.
After the 4 years. This tax referendum is only going to be on the ballot for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen? Are we going to lay off after the 4 years are done? Are we going to lay off those teachers that we are hiring again?
Okay.
And secondly, my question is, as a business owner, I have never thrown money at problems. I look at problems, I solve them, and that's when I see what needs to be corrected. Throwing money at problems is not going to guarantee that our kids will be, that we will have the expected academic achievement. As a business owner, I solve problems and I do not throw money at problems. I look at what needs to happen, what needs to fix, and that's when I step up to the plate and take actions in order to do so.
Okay. Mr. James, same question.
You know, Kevin, it's one of these things where I have worked for a long time in terms of trying to make a school a place where kids can achieve some great things. I support it simply because it's the right thing to do. When I think in terms of where we are and what we need to do, buildings are just brick and mortar. We need to make sure that those kids get all of the basic fundamentals that they need to be successful. Music, art, PE, media, and vocational training. Now, vocational training is the one that I'm really pushing because I know one thing. Marion County is listed as one of the 5 best places in America for employment. In order for us to meet that challenge, we need to have our kids vocationally prepared. And how do we do that? We look at what we're doing with our kids in our vocational school, in our vocational areas in our school. I'd like to bring to the table with some additional funding. I would like to see if we can consolidate CTAE, MTI, and move satellite vocational programs out to all of our local schools like North Marion, Dunellen, Bellevue, Lakeware, so we will be competitive with this market. And if you look around Marion County, we are growing. And people can say that they're not coming to Marion County because of the educational. That's not true. Businesses are moving to Marion County. And we as a school district cannot be play second team. We have to prepare these youngsters for the world of work. I know everybody may assume that kids are going to college, but that's not necessarily so.
Right.
We have to prepare them for the real world, and this tax, I feel, will help.
All right, Mr. James, you get the next question. How much money do you think should be cut from the district budget, and what 3 areas will you target first?
You know, we worked on that for a long time, and we've had some workshops, an extensive workshop. I can't tell you that we need to cut anything. When I look at the direction we're going, and I look at where we are in terms of funding, I know one thing. We need to address the needs of our students, and I know we need to add our after-school programs, because that was one of the things that kept us afloat, was the after-school program. In terms of cutting something, I don't see what we would cut. I know people are yelling about administration, but when we look at our numbers and look at the fact that we are one of the lowest in reference to administrative cost, that's not a joke. When I look at what we're doing in terms of cutting things, where would I cut? You know, just looking at the budget, and I will tell you this: we have, for 14 years, we have been ranked as one of the top financial programs in the country. When I think in terms of what we're doing, we're saying that our finance department is for 14 years has been one of the top.
Right.
And so when I look at things like that, they're keeping us in tune. But as a board member, I know that we have examined this budget. And when you ask me where would I cut, I don't see anywhere right now at the present time.
Okay, fair enough. Ms. Morley, I'm going to ask you the same question. How much money do you think should be cut from the district budget, and what 3 areas would you target first?
First of all, I would like to ask a question the instructional and the non-instructional positions within the school on the budget. We have teachers that are not in the classroom. I would like to look at that. Secondly, I would like to ask the teachers which program works. We spend so many programs on so much money on programs in the classroom, and some of these programs may work or may not work for the students as far as effectiveness. And I would like to get an input from each and every student, a teacher, and find out which programs do work and which do not.
All right, we've got 3 minutes left, and I still have several questions, so I'm going to ask you guys to be a little briefer in your responses.
Okay.
Ms. Morley, your platform includes promoting parental involvement. What specific steps will you take to do this beyond what's already being done?
I would like to put out the welcome mat. I would like to introduce myself to, be in attendance at the open houses where the parents come to the school. Not to micromanage the schools, but to be a face there and get more involvement. And also, as a parent, find out how they feel we need to fix our schools. What is it that they need for their students to excel in our education system? We need to have their input, and they need to be. I would like to know what their understanding is of success for their
child.
child.
You want to talk to them face to face?
Yes.
That's already happening.
I would like to get more involvement, because a lot of parents feel that they are not up to date about the curriculum. They are caught at the back end when everything has happened, knowing that their child had all A's in the classroom, doing well in the school, and at the last moment this child is failing the curriculum, failing his or her.
Okay. All right, Mr. James, this
School.
is going to be our last question. You advocate for more open communication between schools, parents, and community. How will you accomplish this?
I'm glad you asked that question.
Now, I don't have a lot of time, so keep that in mind.
I would like to remind you that the first thing I talked about was a balanced scorecard. And a balanced scorecard will provide transparency. We can identify. We have the technology to do it, and we are doing it. And what I would like to bring to the table is just a transparency of the balanced scorecard. That's student involvement, that's the funds, that's where the staff development, all of these things will be there. And my plan is to work with the school board and work with the superintendent to bring this to the table so everybody, at the end of every 9 weeks, will be able to look there and know what kids need attention, where our funds are going, what training is being offered, what we need to do as a community, and it will keep us informed as we move through the year.
All right, Mr. James, thank you. Ms. Morley, thank you.
Thank
I know
you.
it's a busy season for both of you, so we appreciate your time very much.
Okay, thank you.
We also want to thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned because we've got lots more coming up. But meantime, healthcare is a huge part of our local economy, and one school is boosting the health of that economy with a new nursing program. In part 2 of our series on community, technical, and adult education, Chadwick Pierce shows us how this school is meeting the demands for LPNs, or licensed practical nurses.
Mr. Smith, are you okay? I need another nurse in here.
Okay, let me take
He's
his
throwing
vitals.
up.
What's going on?
Can we get an NG too?
Luckily for Mr. Smith, he is not real. Neither is his emergency. This is a training scenario for students in the new LPN Nursing program at CTAE, and it is becoming very popular.
CTAE believes that it was a good program. We wanted to continue the community focus as far as nursing, and there's definitely a need for to have licensed practical nurses in the community. So, and we have a large request for it.
CTAE picked up the course after it was dropped from the College of Central Florida, and for good reasons.
What we're trying to do is make this program an elite program in Marion County. Service is our number one. Our motto actually is serving each client with dignity and respect, one at a time, every time. Some of the other instructors and I have seen phenomenal nurses in the community and not so phenomenal, but we want to be an elite team. We want to be phenomenal, and what we want to produce here is a phenomenal nurse that everywhere where they go, they say, "Where did you go to school?" And we want them to be proud to say, "I'm a CTAE practical nursing student."
Being a student in this program is not as easy as one would think.
We started last year, and we started with 22 students, and we've had numerous applicants, over 300. So we call them the elite team because we only selected 22. One of the reasons being that we don't have enough nursing instructors. It's a rare bird, but we're working on that.
Administering a solution to make this course better may take some time, but that is not stopping people from enrolling in the school to pursue their education.
I chose CTAE because it's very well respected and well rounded. People in the community, when you say CTAE, they think highly of it. You don't get that with a lot of trade schools. It's kind of hit or miss, but mostly everyone says good things about CTAE as a whole, whether it's allied health or one of the other programs. It's usually positive things.
Knowing what the future holds for everyone makes knowing how to approach this profession with a little TLC critically important.
I feel like nursing should make people feel as a nurse how your mom made you feel growing up. Like, she was comforting, she was always there. If you were hurt, she'd give you a Band-Aid or something. And I feel like sometimes, yeah, we're too old to want our moms, but at the end of the day, you want that comfort, like no matter how old you ever get.
Perfect. Thank you.
The LPN program follows the curriculum set by the Department of Education and also meets the standards and guidelines required by the State Board for Nursing. The 2 candidates are also running for the District 4 seat on the Marion County School Board. They include incumbent Angie Boynton and her challenger, Chase Basinger. They both join us today. Thank you both. Appreciate it. I know it's a busy time. Ms. Boynton, I'm going to pose the first question to you. Do you support the 1 mil referendum on the ballot in November? Why or why not?
Well, yes, I do, because in the 4 years that I've been on the board, I've noticed the funds that have been cut. And over 7 years, we've lost about $54 million, and that's a lot to our budget. I do believe that arts, music, PE, the media, the librarians, and the vocational programs are essential to have a well-rounded student in our community.
All right. Mr. Basinger, same question.
And I agree. I'm a music teacher here in town, and I truly believe that these are essential items like you were talking about. As far as the tax goes, I would be opposed to it for reasons certainly that we can talk about, but honestly I'd like to take a look at that budget. I'd like to get back in there and throw some accountability back onto the spreadsheet. If Marion County votes for this tax, I'm going to support that. We're going to take that amount of money that is set aside each and every year, and I promise that we are going to be accountable with it. After that 4 years sunsets, after it's over with, hopefully in that 4-year time we have had enough wherewithal to plan for those 4 years coming out of the sunset.
All right, question number 2. Mr. Basinger, Florida's Department of Education says Marion County has the 5th lowest administrative costs for all school districts in the state, and those are DOE numbers. What additional specific administrative cuts would you suggest?
Well, when I talk about cuts, I honestly look at people's paychecks, and I'm not after jobs, okay? I'm not after jobs. But when I talk to school teachers and the starting salary is anywhere between $30,000 and $35,000, they are hands-on with that child in the classroom.
Now that is higher in Marion County.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And then you have an administrator who does not deal directly with the child, but does other things in an office building, making sometimes twice as much as what that teacher is. That's what I'd like to look at. And maybe there's not enough money to cover everything that we're looking for, but we've got to start somewhere. This is what our state would do if they stepped in. They would do the same exact thing. And so I just want to have a little common sense and ask of those people in administration. I would ask of ourselves as school board members, is there anything we can give back to our community that would help with this budget problem?
All right. Ms. Boynton, same question.
Could you repeat the question?
Marion County is 5th lowest in the state according to DOE on administrative costs. What additional specific administrative cuts would you suggest?
Well, I understand where Mr. Basinger is, where his information is coming from, but I do believe that the administrators have different degrees and they have different experience levels, and that they are essential to our community to make education successful, to have it run like it does. We do need administrators, and that their costs that they incur are all regulated. And I do believe that I couldn't find any areas, because there's been a lot of cutting already. Yes, we have sent some administrators back to the classroom. You're aware of that, and everything's working fine. But at this point, I don't see, in looking at administrative
You don't see more cuts?
I don't see any more cuts.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Ms. Boynton, schools are aging and there are very few dollars to repair them. What's the solution?
Wow, the main solution, I think, is going back to Tallahassee, making sure that they understand that those PICO funds, that they are moving in other directions, really need to be, some money needs to be set aside, more money. We understand during a growth period they gave out a lot of money, but in buildings there has to be some maintenance money set aside, and I think that the legislators are aware of it now, some of them, and they're moving a little towards it. But it needs to be reinforced by us, the board members, and the other community leaders on the needs to have maintenance.
Mr. Basinger, same question.
We are receiving those PICO funds here probably for the first time in a while, haven't we? And I think it's roughly $50 million going to public schools. And I would say we do need more money in that position. We have buildings. This is a legacy district. Our buildings were built long time ago, and so the maintenance, we've got wonderful staff, everything who maintain those, but we've got to do more to address that, along with several other maintenance issues as well.
Mr. Basinger, you have children who, to my knowledge, have not attended public schools. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Why should people vote for you when you are not trusting the district to educate your own children?
And I just answered this question
I'm
for
sure you
someone
have.
through email, but it's not a matter of me trusting the district with my kids. If people would take the time to actually meet me and get to know me, they would find out that I work at Central Baptist Church, who has an academy, Ocala Christian Academy. As part of my salary and benefits, my children are privileged to go to that Ocala Christian Academy. It is a benefit. I want to support the ministry that I'm part of. My children are this year 7, 6, and 1. The ones that can go to school, I've got another baby at home, but the ones that can go to school, they love going. Yes, it is private education, and we're certainly thankful for it. I'm not paying out of pocket for my kids to go there. I'm supporting the ministry that I am paid from by sending them there.
All right, fair enough. Ms. Boynton, you made comments during a school board meeting that many people describe as bizarre. How would you address that during this re-election campaign?
Well, I've addressed it, several times and privately. I don't think it was bizarre because there was an incident. I think it was a terrifying experience, for me, for my child, and I thank the board, and the administrators for their support during that time. I think I was talking to one reporter, and he was like, "So, how do you feel now?" And I said, "Well, I feel much better, but I realized I had to be stronger, and I've gotten there,
Okay. Next question is yours.
Okay.
Which audience is more important when it comes to being a school board member? Students or voters?
To me, the students are more important,
To me, that's the right answer. I shouldn't have said that, but I did.
It's obvious that, what are schools for? Our students, our children. And to have an audience of them, learning from them where their desires are, what they want to accomplish, what does school mean to them? That to me is, so important.
All right. Mr. Basinger, you want to restore confidence in our schools when it comes to the business community. As of today, as of this taping, 58% of our schools have business partners. That's 28 out of 48. How do you specifically plan to improve this number?
By going out there and talking. Our last board meeting that we had here in Marion County was awesome. We had a very prominent member of the business community come in, sat down with the school board, explained his position, where he was at. The school board listened. It's that type of relationship where a school board or school board member, honestly, would sit down and have those conversations with the business community. They're an essential partner in this business. We want them alongside us all the way through this. And listen, if we have a deficit and I don't have all the answers, who are we going to turn to solve the problems? It's these businesses that are successful in Marion County. We want them to be beside us.
We're also turning to the community with this referendum. All right, we got time for one more question, and this is unscripted, so I'm just going to ask you both. Mr. Basinger, you'll go first. There's a lot of talk in this community and some talk on the school board about restoring the televised public comment portion. The board chose to take that away because they felt it was being politicized several years ago. There are some people who want that back now. Your opinion?
I want that back.
Why?
Because what you did by removing that taped portion was you alienated the 27 minutes that other people could come on and speak. Maybe it was against a certain group or a certain person that we were shielding people from. There is no need to do that. It was 3 minutes. 3 minutes. They had 3 minutes to talk and then they were gone. And then there was 27 minutes open up to the public, and what we did was we squelched that voice. And so I would be in favor of bringing that back. We want the community to see us open and honest in all things. And they may see something that may be ugly on there. A group or a person being ugly, they may see that, but that's part of our community too. We don't turn the video cameras off and shield everyone from that. This is Marion County, and we need a whole 30 minutes. We need a whole hour for this thing to happen. So I would honestly ask that we bring that back.
Right. Ms. Boynton?
Well, Mr. Kevin, you realize that we are going to be reviewing that at our next board meeting, a workshop rather, on October the 9th. And I brought it back because a lot of the community, business, parents, even students were like, it's not transparent enough. And so I want to bring back the transparency, the open honesty, and yes, there may be things that look hidden, but I want people to see we are very transparent.
Well, being transparent, I really appreciate both of you being here today.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you so much.
I wish I had 20 more minutes to talk to you.
I'd love
And
to.
we probably will do that depending on who wins this race. So good luck to both of you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Well, Gabriela Cruz is a Take Stock in Children scholarship recipient, and she is exactly the kind of student that we are proud of here and that we all take stock in. Joel Hartley introduces us to this amazing young lady in our Student Spotlight.
Gabby comes from a background with some significant struggles. Her dad was deported several years ago, and her mom recently passed away from cancer, so she basically is under the care and guardianship of her brother.
That kind of adversity is a classic formula for failure, but in the case of Gabriela Cruz, it's the source of a drive to not only survive, but excel.
At the end of my mother's disease, we all knew the facts. We all knew how it had metastasized, how it was terminal. All those things were facts. But she, at the end, still had hope, and that made me have hope. And if I can go through that, if she can go through that, and still at the end, at the very, very end, still have hope, then I know I can battle through all of my homework, all of the hours at work, because I also work. I can do internship, and I can still maintain like a social life and have a good family with my brother. All those things, I can still do those things because I've done harder things.
Watching her mother battle cancer has given Cruz a goal in life.
I hope that I can go into medical school and then practice in oncology. After seeing and being around the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Orlando, I felt really inspired by my mom's doctor.
The executive officer of Vanguard's NJROTC unit, she's dual enrolled at MTI and CF, volunteers, has a job and a social life.
It's a lot. I have a busy schedule. There's days in the week where I'm up at 6 and I don't come home till like 9:30. And it's challenging, but it's a good kind of pressure. It's the kind of pressure that like builds character, and I don't know, that I know I'm gonna need for all of my future endeavors.
As I mentioned, Gabby is part of the Take Stock in Children program, a mentor and scholarship program offered by the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. Our own superintendent serves as a Take Stock mentor to a Lake Weir High School student, and he now joins us with this month's Superintendent Spotlight.
I'm here at Evergreen Elementary School today, and it is the month of October. And all across the United States, October is often a season of change. Here in Florida, we do not experience the seasons change. Our leaves don't turn various brilliant colors here, but we do have a lot of change that is approaching us here in Marion County and all over the state of Florida. And I'd like to talk about a couple of those changes and challenges that we have. One big change is, of course, of our change going to new standards. Marion County and the state of Florida will be following the Florida state standards, which are copied after the Common Core standards. These standards are guaranteed to raise our children's ability to be successful in the world of work. The second change that we're experiencing here in Marion County and also across the state of Florida is entering a new assessment era. Next spring, our students will be taking the Florida Standards Assessment. This assessment, which is change for us, will be very challenging for our students. But one thing that is not changing here in Marion County, and I'm very proud of, and that is the fact that we constantly have great students here in Marion County. Another thing that is not changing, that is very constant, is we have wonderful employees. Both teachers and support personnel are addressing the challenges of change that we have. We also have great administrators leading our schools, and we have a very supportive district. So as we enter this time of change, we are confident that we're going to be able to come out on top and be the great school district that we can. Now, also in the month of October, being an old civics teacher, I have to remind everybody that our next month is November. And November, of course, in the year 2014 is a time of elections. And I would be remiss if I did not encourage everyone to please vote in this November's election. Whether you vote early voting whether you vote by mail or you wait for that special Tuesday. I encourage you to vote in our very important county elections and very important state elections. Thank you, and have a great month of October, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Mr. Tomyn, and thank you for joining us today. Parents, remember, I always encourage you, be there for your child every day.